Welcome to Cosmo Ready's presentation of Wisconsin's recent Department of Safety and Professional Services cosmetology updates. These took effect November 1st, 2023. Let's take a closer look. Effective November 1st, 2023, there was some newly added language to the Cosmetology Examining Board's rules. So these are going to relate to delegated medical procedures and courses of instruction. Relating to Chapter COS 2, there are 6 new definitions at the beginning of the chapter. Let's take a closer look. Chemical process refers to the use of chemical reactions to change the texture, style, or length of hair, skin, or nails. Dermaplaning, also known as dermablading, is a skin resurfacing procedure that uses a scalpel and blade held at a 45-degree angle to the skin to remove hair and some of the stratum corneum. For the purpose of Chapter COS 2, the definition for impact means to touch, change, alter, modify, or transform. Microblading is a permanent makeup technique in which a handheld tool made of several tiny needles is used to cut into the skin in fine, short strokes to insert pigment to change its appearance. Microneedling, also called collagen induction therapy, refers to a cosmetic procedure that involves repeatedly puncturing the skin with tiny sterile needles in a single-use cartridge. The needle depth of the single-use cartridge may be adjusted by the operator and is attached to a power-operated device that moves the needles up and down at a rapid pace. The stratum corneum, also referred to as the horny layer, is up to 10 to 30 layers of dead cells. The epidermis with all of its layers is between 0.1 millimeter and 0.2 millimeters thick. The stratum corneum, which is the uppermost layer of the epidermis, is between 0.01 millimeters and 0.02 millimeters in thickness. Now that we understand the new terms and definitions, within the Chapter COS 2, there's some additional language that we need to look at. The first one would be the new statement of no licensee may diagnose any disease of the skin. And keep in mind too that delegated medical procedures are treatments that licensees may provide only under the direction of a licensed physician. The exact language is right here. Licensees may provide client services constituting medical procedures only as directed, supervised, and inspected by a physician who has the power to direct, decide, and oversee the implementation of the client services provided in a licensed establishment. So, what qualifies as a delegated medical procedure? Prior to November 1st, we had laser hair removal and microdermabrasion and chemical peels. Now, microdermabrasion and chemical peels had exceptions where, you could do this without a medical professional, but there are some levels of it that need a physician. So, those exceptions are already in the laws. Additions now are microneedling is considered a delegated medical procedure, and also any treatment impacting a layer of skin below the stratum corneum. As a reminder, the stratum corneum is the uppermost layer of the epidermis. As mentioned earlier, chemical exfoliation is a delegated medical procedure with an exception. So we can perform services with alpha hydroxy acids of 30% or less, with a pH not less than 2.0. This is an improvement because prior to November 1st, the pH could not go below a 3.0. So now we can go to a 2.0 pH. Also salicylic acid of 20% or less with a pH not less than 2.0. At this point, it's important to note that laser hair removal and microneedling require a physician to be present, where the items listed with the asterisk, microdermabrasion, and chemical peels have the exceptions that allow licensed cosmetologists and estheticians to use, and those are outlined in Chapter COS 2. In addition, the following language has been added. The following are delegated medical procedures. Unless the licensee has received formal training in the procedure as part of a board-approved curriculum and the treatment, as performed, does not impact a skin layer below the stratum corneum. So these include dermaplaning when performed by an esthetician licensed under Statute 454.06, Section 4. Eyelash and eyebrow tinting, microblading, utilization of electromagnetic radiation and electric current, and utilization of thermal energy. Based off the language in the previous slide, let's take a closer look. So here we have a chart where we have the treatments listed on the left, and then we have to know first, did you receive training in a board-approved course? So that would be yeses. You need yeses in this column, right? If you want to perform it. The other part of it is, does it impact the skin below that stratum corneum? If so, then you need a physician's oversight. So if we look at dermaplaning would be the very top layer. That's the stratum corneum. So it does not impact below the stratum corneum. However, you need to have received board-certified training. Lash and brow tinting. It does not impact below the stratum corneum because the tint should not get on the skin. So that would be fine, but did you receive board-approved training? Microblading. Okay. Does it impact below the stratum corneum? Yes, it does. However, if you apply for a tattoo license and a tattoo establishment license, that would be the perfect workaround for microblading. There's no courses to take. It's just an application and a fee. Then we have the utilization of electromagnetic radiation and electric current and thermal energy. So again, is the training you received board approved? And if you don't know, you're going to have to check with your manufacturer on these devices to see if it does impact below the stratum corneum. Since there is new language added regarding board-approved training, I suggest that you reach out to the request support link on the DSP license portal. One of the things going on in Wisconsin is they eliminated continuing education. However, when I went to check COS Chapter 11, it's no longer accessible. So my guess is that they will be adding language to that area that will help provide more information on approved providers or how to become an approved provider. Now let's take a look at Chapter COS 5 and what additions have been made to courses. So on this slide, you can see the highlighted language. That is all new. And as a reference, when it refers to the syllabus or curriculum, that is going to be the breakdown of the hours and subjects. The language for COS 5.01 courses states, schools that provide instruction to students for cosmetology practitioner or specialty schools that provide instruction to students for esthetician, electrologist, and manicurist licenses shall develop curricula for instruction that are based on the appropriate syllabus as approved by the board in this chapter. Here we have just a basic overview of the syllabi, where cosmetologists have to complete 1,550 hours, and then it breaks down the theory and practical hours. Again, within COS 5, you'll see the breakdown of subjects as well. So you'll want to take a closer look within the COS Chapter 5. Additionally, under that same section, a school or specialty school shall offer at a minimum the practical and theory hours listed for the subjects in the appropriate syllabus included in this section chapter. So here I just have the various chapter subsections listed for each license. There is also language now that includes remote schooling. So courses may be offered to students remotely as deemed appropriate by the school and as approved by the board. So you would need board approval for that. Finally, the last updated language refers to simulated patrons. So simulated patrons such as mannequins may be used for practical training as deemed appropriate by the board. Once again, please direct any questions regarding the new language to DSPS. The request support link is listed right here and is also located on the DSPS license portal. If you're planning on becoming an approved provider or already work at a school, Cosmo Ready offers different training options that may be beneficial to you and your school. So we offer setup and support of a learning management system or an online course portal where you'll be able to track, grade, and print customized certificates. And we can also create interactive online lessons that'll link directly to your grade center. We can also assist with compliance training. So if you own a school and you want your staff and faculty to receive special training, we offer those services as well. If any of these services seem of interest to you, please reach out to Cosmo Ready via our website or by email.